spray on the paint. Let's have some fun, Cam. How we doing?
I was jamming to that song. That's such an awesome song.
It's a bop. It's a bop.
I love
Courtesy
it.
of my boy Bailey Terrell. He is an Omaha native, still lives there as well. And, he just makes a little beat action on the side. And he was gracious enough to give us something for this show. And you'll hear a lot throughout it because I think we'll do a little mix and matching. He's diving deeper into the beat game. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's at least what I'm going to call it for the sake of the argument. And he just dropped me something new that I'll play for Cam maybe after this episode.
I can't wait. I was very surprised once you're like, oh, I got a buddy that's going to do this. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, sure. We all got a buddy that can put together some beats.
Right.
Like, no, this thing kicks. This has got some fire to it. I dig it.
So he told me a funny little tidbit story about how some guy in Sweden found one of his beats on YouTube, and he now gets paid royalties off of the song that the guy made to the beat.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's anything. It was probably like $500. It's by no means is it a big artist.
Yeah, he's not going to live off that, but it's a nice little paycheck, I'm sure.
No, you spend, I don't know, 2-3 hours in your creative world, your creative office bubble, whatever you want to say. And
that's where I live.
You get $500 just because you were sitting there for 3 hours. I mean, Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. But he dropped me a country beat.
Oh,
I know people are kind of thinking like, man, country, does this show really go with country? It's a little like Morgan Wallen-esque. Like, I don't know if it's throw a chair off a balcony bad, but it's pretty, it hits pretty hard. Nice. I don't know if it hits people at the bottom, but the beat hits pretty hard.
The beat hits.
Man, it's crazy. I am all out of sorts today.
Yeah.
And I think
what's happening with you?
I think it's because it's the first day back. Back off the honeymoon train. I'm not even signed into the comments yet, and I got to make sure I can respond to all of our great viewers out there.
Last week, being a short week after Memorial Day and stuff, it got me all out of sorts. Just because short weeks are always a little weird. And now we come back this week, and I'm still feeling like short week. So I was like, is today Wednesday? What day is today? So I'm still out of sorts just on what day it is, just because of the long weekend.
Short week. Are we talking like Shane short or like,
it'd be 4/5 of a week, I guess.
Okay,
so
that's about Shane short.
A little bit taller than Shane, but yeah. Let's go back to back with those weeks versus Shane. I think I think the week would be longer.
I miss Shane. Shane, what a guy. Hurrdat Sports Radio doing some good things on the daily. If you haven't caught them, Damon Benning, Robbie Lula, Shane Schillerberg, always producing some good content. Some super regional baseball talk was today. And I'm really into college baseball. I know it's a shock to a lot of people that I'm into baseball, but regional baseball, I was never like all on board for. And after watching a few of the games last night, the elimination games, which are like, I was stressing on the couch, and I had no rooting interest in any of these teams. My buddies texted me about UNC. My other buddy's a huge fan of LSU. I'm like, guys, I love being the middleman here. Like, I'm feeding one guy. I'm getting after another. This is my comfort zone. I'm feeling good. And, that sort of baseball, though, is just so exciting. And it's how you can battle in the trenches. When you get late into a baseball game, it's who's going to make the big play or who's going to make the mistake. And in that game, an LSU freshman, the only freshman in the starting lineup, commits an error on a routine fly ball, and UNC pounces on it. They get one run out of it. Later on, it was later on in the inning. It wasn't like that error did it, but it put a runner in scoring position, and boom, UNC now has a run. LSU wasn't able to respond. LSU's out.
Baseball is such a game of not motivation. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe motivation, whatever it is. Where the momentum. That's the word. Momentum.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about momentum.
One thing like that, where you just flub something up, the other team takes over, gets a couple runs or whatever it might be. It can make the whole game.
Well, in UNC, they had all the momentum because in the ninth inning they were down a run. They lead off with a double. They get an RBI single in the ninth. So now, like, the tide is turning in favor of the Tar Heels. So when you go into extra innings and you have that kick that you needed, that little bit of that little jump start, like your car died and you're like, I need to borrow Kam's F-150 and, give me his jumper cables. Like that's what UNC got. Dude, it was over. It was over. LSU just could not respond after something like that. You have to be perfect. In baseball, you really have to be perfect. And unless you have the run support to make up for the errors, I see it all the time. I watch Cardinal baseball on the regular. These guys commit so many errors, it's not even funny. I mean, you have guys like Arenado, who is a Gold Glove machine, and he's the type of guy that you expect to make every single play that goes his way, and he's struggling to throw the ball to first base. I mean, they had, I think him and Mason Wynn, the two left side of their infield, had 4 errors in 14 games, and a lot of those games ended up in a loss. Now, there were games early on in the season where the Cardinals got away with it because they're scoring runs. If you commit errors but score 5 runs, well, I mean, you can just kind of wipe your hands with it. But if you commit a lot of errors and you only get 3 runs on the board, this is where you're in a world of trouble.
Did you say 4 errors in 14 games?
Yeah.
Like that sounds pretty good.
But so it does, but it came from those players.
Oh,
so those guys themselves had 4 errors in 14 games.
Oh, not like as a whole. It was like each one of them had 4.
Well,
no, they had 4 total.
See, now this is where you're going to test me, because I'm not overly confident in that answer because it was a stat I heard on TV. When I went on my honeymoon, I was checked out.
Oh, for sure.
The work phone was checked out. The sports world was checked out, except for playoff hockey. I did sneak a little bit in. I tried to watch Chernobyl, the documentary on Chernobyl on the honeymoon.
We were talking about that with whoever it was.
With Robbie. I tried to watch it. Yeah, Ashley was not in.
Duh,
dude. Was not in.
At least you got some hockey in there. Like it's honeymoon time. And what are you doing?
I know. She went down to work out. She's the queen of fitness. The absolute queen.
Like early rise fitness and like throughout the day. Like is she just a workout in the morning and night type person? What's the deal?
She's a workout a day person. So when it's most inconvenient to like me, and I don't want to go down to the gym, she's like, I have to get a workout in. So this is like right before dinner. We've been at the pool all day. I've had a few cocktails. I'm feeling good. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go work out for an hour. And I'm like, yeah, you won't see me there.
Cool. I'm going to nap.
And that's what it turned into. Like a weird show. I was binging Young Sheldon.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm into it yet or if I'm not, but
I watched the last couple episodes. I've never really watched it before. Like through osmosis, I know what's going on in the show, but my wife's like, oh, hey, we should watch this. I'm like, why? She's like, it's kind of a historical event. I'm like, you've never watched this show. Why do we even care? Like, do you just want to sit and cry and watch CBS? Because I get that. Because it's definitely a sad show at the end with his big. Never mind. I'm not going to ruin it for you.
No, his dad dies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I saw that clip too. I'm like, why am I rewatching this show? I already know what happens.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So we watched that, but it was fine. It's not a bad show. It's kind of goofy, but
I feel like I learned some things though. Like your wife said, it's a little bit historical. I feel like I learned some things in the show because of how smart Sheldon actually is. And well, now it's a character, but like how smart they make his character. Like Ashley was like, man, we were flying through the clouds when we were returning through Nashville to St. Louis. And she's like, I mean, like what actually makes clouds? And I found myself using terms like cumulonimbus and a bunch of other things when explaining it. And I'm like,
stratosphere or whatever. Yeah.
I watch too much Young Sheldon. The only reason I know like these words are because of that show.
Either that or Bill Ramby. That's your two sources on science.
On clouds. Not Bill Nye the Science Guy.
No. So yeah, you're married now.
I am. I got the
seems like you're falling into it pretty nicely with taking a nap while she does something else. That's an A1 married
dad. Yep. A1 dad.
Yeah.
I find myself still doing this all the time. When you were talking to me, I was about to show you the ring and it was like right here. And it's because I keep playing with it. So I'm a fidgeter, as most people probably could have guessed, but I am a married man and I feel no different.
Isn't that weird?
I'm like, man, the responsibility aspect of being married is like not what I expected it. It's like the exact same thing that I was 3 weeks ago.
And you guys have been together for a while. It's not like
almost 3 years. Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys are used to each other and your habits and your ticks and whatever. So
well, and we
now there's a piece of paper saying that you're official. You know?
Right. And now, granted, like I'm a man of faith, so there is like something there. But outside of that, when it comes to everyday life in Omaha, we only had each other. It was each other. We had a few friends and, the work family. And that's about it. Like I didn't have my whole family there where we were like going to family dinners on the regular or, attending like, this event or that event. It was just us two.
Yeah.
So we got
career-based. Everything was career-based stuff. Yeah.
Right. So because of that, we were always around each other. So we knew we could live with one another. So that was pretty easy to decide. So when we come back here and we're doing everything like the same, it's the only thing that's different is we add a little bit more time in for my family, or we plan a trip up to see her mom in Illinois. And that's about it. Like,
so at the wedding, how many folks would you say did you have total, like attending the wedding?
We probably had 185.
Okay. That's pretty good.
That was at the reception though. The wedding, we probably got like a little over 100.
Yeah. So that was the thing. So after my wife and I got married, the reception, the actual ceremony was a little small, but the reception got to be bigger. Let's say 200 people max, whatever. But my arms hurt so bad because I was just hugging everybody, like, oh, good to see you guys. Good to see you. And I was like, this movement, like these shoulders were like getting a workout that day. I don't know if you had any.
I did more bicep curls.
Oh yeah, I was trying. I couldn't even try to get drunk. It was just like I gotta hug everybody.
Right.
And then I lost the beer. But
So what hurt me, and this is probably like, get your mind out of the gutter. I got to set the stage here. Like my jaw hurt. Okay. Like from smiling so much in every photo. Like the very next day, I'm like, golly, like the sides of my jaw are just beat to shreds. Mind you, we don't need anybody down and dirty when they're thinking about this scenario. It's only about smiling. But I
might take that cut out of context and just use it somewhere right
Yeah, my
Give
jaw
it to Shane, he can use it. Yeah.
Well, he already uses my voice half the time on that show.
Right.
All I can think about is there was was it before Ravi was on the show? I think it was after. He forgot that I was Damon's co-host.
Oh.
So like Damon was talking about like being down in St. Louis for something. And he's like, yeah, my sister's there and, my old co-host. And Robbie's like, old co-host? Like who's an old co-host of yours that's in St. Louis? He goes, Andrew. He goes, oh yeah, that's right. I just talked to him the other day. And I'm like, oh, wow. Nice to feel loved here, Robbie, after having you on the show.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Did you get to so on your honeymoon, obviously you guys spent a lot of time together doing some fun stuff. Did you do anything like separate? I think I saw some pictures of you doing some golfing event or whatever, or maybe that was
the weekend we came back. I can't believe she let me do that.
Yeah.
So we went on a 9-day honeymoon, which was a lot, but I felt like we both needed it. Now, granted, people are like, gosh, that's a lot of money. And I'm just like, they're like, how do you get around work stuff? And, most of my stuff at like Hurrdat, for example, like I didn't really take a whole lot of vacation. And when I was like, going back to visit family, I was still at Hurrdat's disposal to create something.
Yeah, you were going hard for 2 years straight.
Right.
So you deserve the 9 days for sure.
Right. And so like, because you don't take, extended vacations like that, you have that, ability. Now, granted, like I said, today, I feel like I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off because I'm trying to catch up with almost everything. Side note, I may be driving a little bit illegally right now.
Heyo.
My registration is up and I don't have enough bills coming to my house yet, my new place of establishment, in order to go to the Missouri licensing office or whatever it is to get registration to and get that completed. Like, and
you need proof of like whatever, like 2 or 3 forms of
you need everything.
You weren't, okay.
Yeah, because I need a new ID.
Yeah, you need a new ID, so you have to get that first. But you also need to prove that you live at the place that you live at. So you need like 2 or 3 pieces of mail, right?
Right. And they only
card from 1998.
Yeah, I can't have a postcard from my friend in Italy telling me that that's where I live. I actually need a bill of some kind.
Right.
So that's that. I can't find the title to my car right now. And I don't know where that could be. and
boy.
it may be in a storage unit. It may be in a folder, like underneath a bunch of shirts in my room. Like, so I am just all out of
I'll
sorts.
say this as a married man talking another one. Get yourself a nice little fireproof lockbox.
So we have that, and I
Okay.
don't know why the title is
Why
not
is
in
the
that.
title not in there? Yeah, that's the first step.
Yeah, so I missed the mark there. But beside that, I don't even know where I was going with it. Oh, the 9-day vacation.
Yeah,
You asked if we did like some other things on our own. We didn't do anything separate from one another. We went snorkeling. I love snorkeling.
That's fun. Yeah.
So if we did anything separate there, it was me diving in deeper waters because she doesn't like places that she can't like physically see into.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me dive deep. I love to swim. I feel like I could be a merman. Who knows? The tail may come off when I get out of water, not in water. That'd be a little, well, that wouldn't make me a merman then. But
you a man. Yeah.
it just make me a man. And so we did a little bit of snorkeling. I was disappointed with the food in the place that we were staying. So we stayed at Navarre Beach, Florida, which is right in between Pensacola and Destin. So if you're looking at the handle of Florida, that's where we were staying. The beaches were exceptional. White sand, it was quartz sand. So it was very soft and you could kind of like hear each like step, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the waters were emerald green, but it's not actually the water that's green. It's the reflection from the sun off the sand at the base that makes it emerald green on the coastline. Again, young Sheldon coming out of nowhere here. Now, I think that's what our guide said when we went snorkeling. And so, like, the beauty of where we were was exceptional. Where we wanted to go eat, so how we planned on eating was we had free breakfast at the hotel. So we didn't have to worry about that. And I'm not a big breakfast goer anyway, but, you know, it's there just to have like a bowl
make your own Belgian waffle. You might as well try it.
Well, and that made me mad. They didn't have waffles. The only two items that they had were
This place
pancakes and cinnamon French toast. And like that was good for like 3 days. But when you have it for 9 days, and that's what they cycled through, it was one after the other. And you just kept going. Like, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of this cinnamon French toast. And I love French toast. For lunch, we went to Aldi when we first got there and just got food, got some like seltzers, which shout out Vista Bay seltzers, like no free plugs, but those things were exceptional for the price. You get 13 or 12 of them for $13. You can't get 12 hard seltzers anywhere for $13. So we got food, lunch food, snacks, paid about $60 after we had a $50 like Visa gift card from somebody at the wedding. So we spent about $60 of our own money and boom, we had lunch for the week. We did that so we could go out to dinner every night. So that sets the stage.
But still have some snacky things or whatever you wanted at home. Yeah.
Right.
The hotel.
At the hotel.
Yeah.
So we went in Navarre a little bit for food. We had dinner at the restaurant that was connected to the hotel, and they gave us a $25 off coupon, and they said you can use this every night that you stay here. And I go, every night? How expensive is this restaurant?
Yeah.
No restaurant's giving you $25 off. Did I say percent? $25 off every single night.
Yeah.
Unless it's $800 for the food.
That was like the honeymoon experience that you were getting there, right?
Right. So we did that. It was nice. We had it a couple of times, but like 3 scallops one night cost me $42. I'm just like, yeah, no more. Like I can't go to this restaurant anymore. We had some other places that were just like, like we had some crab down there because I love crab, but it's frozen. I mean, it's Alaskan snow crab. So once I kind of got out of the, oh man, I want the seafood that I normally always eat when I go to the beach, I'm like, let's just start eating the fresh stuff, like the fresh catch of the day.
Yeah.
Like just ask around for that. So it took us a few days to figure out that the fresh catch of the day was the best food option down there. The red snapper, which is native to the Gulf, the grouper, native to the Gulf, unbelievable. It's like the fresh seafood is incredible. But we had to go to Pensacola and Destin in order to find those things. In order to find the good restaurant.
To get to the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a rental car, which was good, but yeah, we had to travel. And was it worth it? Absolutely. The drive home where Andrew's tummy is rumbling. I don't know. I mean, we're driving down a 25-mile-per-hour road and it's very scenic, but there's a ton of cars and people. And I'm like, Andrew may need to speed a little bit.
And
the honeymoon was
your
great.
plates are expired. Your tags are expired. So
We did that. Not on that car.
Yeah.
Not on that car. Not on that car. But no, it was an incredible trip. I couldn't have asked for a better honeymoon. And, I'm happy that I'm finally getting back to work. Like, at some point, once you're wired like us, it's like, okay, I got to start doing things again, or else I'm going to drive myself crazy. It's good to be back in the chair. It's good to be back with you. It's good to be back making videos for the team. You'll see some stuff pop up. Something about Caitlin Clark will come out this week. It may come out today because I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, and I know I text you the day after your wedding, but I want to say congratulations again. So that's
thank you.
On the record, so everybody else knows I said it too.
Yes. So Kahm actually did say something.
I'm not a big jerk like you think.
I'm going to prove to everybody that you didn't actually send me the text because I deleted it. So, no. The Caitlin Clark stuff is something that I really want to talk about today. Yep. And it's driving me crazy. Like, it is absolutely driving me nuts. I don't know if other people are following the situation as deep as I am, but I'm sick and tired of what's been happening to her. Now, I don't care how anybody looks at this view. This is my opinion and my opinion alone. This, for one, it has to stop. She's the best thing that's happened to this game. To the game of women's basketball, Caitlin Clark is the best thing that has happened to it. People are going to throw race out there. That could be a thing. It could be a black and white thing. I'm not going to be the one to, just say that's it. It may be a jealousy thing. That could easily be the thing. Oh, this girl that was super popular in college, and I'm jealous of the platform that she has. It could easily be that thing. It could be a lot of different things pooled together. But here's what needs to stop. I'm cool with the welcome to the league stuff. Like, she goes up for a layup. You try to block it. Let me say that one more time. You try to block it. You're going after the ball, not her, the ball. If you make a little bit of contact and it's a little bit of rough, it's like, hey, like, you're playing big girl basketball now. This isn't college anymore. You're playing in the pros. I'm cool with that stuff.
For sure.
What I'm not cool with are cheap shots that just happen for no reason. And we saw that over the weekend.
Yeah, the other
with
night.
Kennedy Carter.
Yeah.
She just comes by and hip checks her. Now, people are going to be like, oh, Caitlin Clark flopped. Okay, we've heard this before. And at Iowa, they were like, Caitlin Clark flopped. Look, when you get blindsided by anybody that is your size, you are going to hit the deck.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
In that clip, I've seen it a few times when it was in Kennedy, you said?
Kennedy.
When Kennedy's coming in, she's mouthing some pretty offensive words towards Caitlin Clark. So it's like, it's definitely on purpose. And she got jarred. Like, that definitely would have put her down. I don't think flopping is a part of that situation. Maybe other things, but that one thing right there, not a flop. Yeah.
I weigh 165 pounds. If you told Brandon Tiedemann, who probably weighs pretty close to 165 pounds, if he came in from behind me and hip checked me, I would fall. I would fall because I'm not expecting it.
For sure.
Everybody would fall. Anybody of the same size would. If Shane came up and hip checked me and then I fell, maybe it's a flop, right? Because now we're talking about a different size.
I think that's hip to knee at that point, but whatever.
And maybe I do fall because my knees will just give out and I hit the deck. But that stuff needs to stop because at some point she'll stay in the league because she's a competitor. I'm not her at all just taking off and saying, you know what? I could have gotten $5 million from Ice Cube. I could have gotten $10 million playing rec ball with Dave Portnoy. I'm not worried about her leaving because she loves the game and she wants to impact the WNBA, and she's uplifting it right now. Brandon Tiedemann, you're welcome. But as I said, I would still fall, right? I'm not worried about any of that stuff. She'll stay in the league. But what I think will start happening is she may just get fed up with things. And I don't know, maybe you lead to an early retirement from the WNBA. Maybe she decides, well, like, I don't want to play here. I'm going to go play overseas or something for a little. Like, again, will she probably stay in the WNBA because she's good enough to be the star of the WNBA? Yeah, most likely. But until she sees people standing up for her on her team, her teammates, it's going to be pretty hard to want to stay home,
Yeah,
to want to feel like she belongs.
And I think she's that much of a competitor that she won't let the bullies take over that situation. She'll come back with some stuff, or she'll have to rally her team around her in order to get something accomplished, or at least, say out loud, hey, stop doing that. But yeah, I don't think she's going to give in to bullies and go overseas or do anything, or early retire, unless some cheap shot just really does some work on her. But
now I think that's way out there. That's way off into the distance. That's stuff you don't have to think about. But this is what I think is the worst part about it all. If examples aren't made for instances like hip checks and off-ball things and all this other stuff, if examples aren't made, like punishments don't come, they're just going to keep getting worse. And now you're putting her body at risk. And if she's not on the court, what's going to happen? Your ticket sales are going to plummet because people travel to go watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. They don't travel to go watch anybody else play basketball. They go to watch Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
If she is on the court, they're watching the game. If she is off the court, they're not going. My dad was in Indianapolis just a couple of weeks ago. An Iowa family comes through the same door of the hotel and asked him if he was also there to watch the Indiana Fever game. When was the last time anybody from Iowa traveled for a WNBA game, let alone anybody ever nationally traveled to a different state to go watch a WNBA game that wasn't a family member?
Right.
I bet
it hasn't happened. Yeah.
I bet if you dug up statistics, it would be very small. Very, 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 very small. You look at attendance numbers. Angel Reese comes out and says this just yesterday. The reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of Me Too. I want you all to realize that. She said that on the heels of, I'm okay with being the enemy. The LSU Iowa National Championship game is really what sparked it all. Look, girl, go back behind the curtain. It's not because of you. It's not because of anybody but Caitlin Clark. It really is not. And for anybody else to think so, it's a psychotic thing to think.
But I mean, that rivalry was, it was something for 2 years in a row. It was pretty great. And that's what got a lot of eyeballs there. So I can see where she's coming from, but.
Was the rivalry great, or was watching Caitlin Clark trying to redeem herself great?
Well, yeah.
That's what people need to kind of realize here is without her in the equation, nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, you don't get a Batman without a Joker.
Nobody cares.
You don't have a Joker without a Batman. So
in this quote, like I said, I'm good with the welcome to the league stuff. I think that should be present in sports because it shows the difference in competition level. But let's not even begin to think that Caitlin Clark isn't the reason people are in the seats. You look at attendance numbers. I'm going to go back to this now, Cam. Angel Reese on the Chicago Sky, I believe, their attendance went from 7,000 to 8,000. Okay. It's a good jump. It's good for the WNBA to see growth. For Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, average attendance went from about 4,000 to 16,000. That's a 308% increase. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie. The facts are there. I'm a very factually based individual. Show me the facts, then I'll buy in. Opinion means absolutely nothing. And that right there is an opinion. I want y'all to realize that. The reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of Me Too. Why are you striving so much for the spotlight? Caitlin Clark's not coming out and saying anything like this. Why? One, because she knows. She knows what's true. And the second thing is, she doesn't have to. Like, that's how you're getting yourself attention. Your 15 minutes of fame, Kennedy Carter's 15 minutes of fame, is because she hip-checked Caitlin Clark. It's not because she's Kennedy Carter. She's getting fame because of Caitlin Clark. So let's just call it what it is. So instead of becoming enemies, and I'm not saying you have to vacation with one another in the offseason. You don't have to go to Navarre Beach and have fun like Andrew and Ashley on their honeymoon.
And drive miles to get just a good dinner.
I'm not saying any of that. But what I think is needed is this isn't football. This isn't MMA. You're playing basketball. So play basketball. let the game talk for itself. If Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, which they're not playing so hot, if that's what you're going to do to lead the charge and talk about this stuff, boom, let the game walk the walk, right? Don't just talk. Anybody can talk. People are tired of people talking. Caitlin Clark is the best thing to ever happen to that game. The best thing. I don't take race out of it because I know too many people are diving into race, right? Just everybody forget about that for a moment. Just get rid of it, lose it, and just go focus in. Why are people watching women's basketball? Let's go with names. Caitlin Clark was black, you'd say Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark is white, you'd say Caitlin Clark. It's Caitlin Clark. So let her grow the game, let her grow the sport, and have fun beating her. Like either Caitlin Clark wins and Caitlin Clark proves that she continues to be the best, and great. Or Caitlin Clark continues to lose, and you can say, hey, it's not just her. It's us too.
It's a fluke. Yeah.
It's not just her. But look, you look at the NBA. Why do people like the NBA? Like, for people that don't know the NBA, why do people love it? I like the NBA because of Steph Curry. Steph Curry got me into the NBA. Why do I like Steph Curry? Because he hit crazy shots that we've never seen before. He did things differently than any other player before. Why do I like women's basketball? Because Caitlin Clark hits shots that no one's seen before. She makes plays that nobody's seen before. That's why people like the sport. Now, maybe there was somebody in the generation 30 years ago that I don't know because I didn't watch any college basketball or from men's or women's side or the WNBA or the NBA. I didn't watch any of it until these players got me into it. So maybe that's why I'm so passionate about it, because Caitlin Clark made everybody care about women's basketball. Like, I enjoyed it. I watched the tournament every time it came around. I enjoyed going to Omaha Maverick women's basketball games, Nebraska women basketball games, Creighton women's basketball games when I was up there. I enjoyed it, but that's because I love sports. Not everybody else is me. Actually, very few people are like me.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a pretty short list for sure.
So appreciate what's being done here. Just appreciate it for a moment. That's all that needs to be done. It doesn't need to be anything further than that. There has to be some sort of appreciation or kudos to, wow, how cool is it that this is happening?
I think that's a great sentiment. Overall, how cool is it that women's sports is happening and people are actually caring about it now? I know, back in the 90s when the WNBA first started, people cared because Lisa Leslie and those guys were all leading the charge. But here it is. It's almost like a second coming type of situation for the WNBA and women's sports in general. I think it's fantastic.
There's young girls in Iowa that flooded the gates. Is it Carver Arena?
Yeah.
Flooded the gates of Carver to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. Signs, jerseys, everything. People waiting in line to get tickets. Why? Because of the impact that she's made on the game. There were people outside of Nebraska softball trying to get on the list of season tickets to watch Jordy Ball pitch. Why? Because she's unbelievable. And she's Jordy Ball and the impact that she's made on the game. There are people like that in the world. There are jealous people out there in the world that will try to tear you down. And so going back to Kam's OG point, it's a mental game, and Caitlin Clark's won that right now. She's not going to let the bullies get to her. But let's just all appreciate the impact of these certain athletes. There are certain athletes out there that change the game. LeBron James changed the game. He was the second coming of Michael Jordan, and that's why he is in arguments with who's the greatest player of all time. And those fist battles are fun to talk about. Steph Curry, best shooter. Some may argue even Kobe. Some may argue, Larry Bird, whatever it is. That's why great battles are done. Best quarterback, Tom Brady. Some may start to argue Patrick Mahomes. Here we go. The fist battles, those are good for sports. Right now, though, there is one person making an impact in the WNBA, and that's Caitlin Clark. Like a real impact. Other people may be making smaller impacts, and that's cool. You have your roles. That's cool. But one person is doing it at a greater pace than any other player, at least that I've seen in a long time, across all sports, not just women's sports, all sports. You ask anybody out there in the world, Cam, you're not a sports guy. Name me the top 5 athletes that come to your mind.
Top 5? Outside of the ones that you just named, because you just named like pretty much the top 5.
Caitlin Clark is on that list.
Caitlin Clark definitely on that list for sure.
Out of all athletes,
yeah,
everybody out there, that just shows the impact. And I'm going to rest on that term, impact.
Yeah.
Look at the facts. Look at the numbers. She will show impact. Time will tell if she can hold on to that impact. She was great at that in college. Most people are probably going to think she's great at that in the WNBA because she's a hard worker. She doesn't let anybody get better than she is. She is elite. She's the number 1 pick in the draft. But it's a different game. It's a different animal.
It's early on in the season too. And like these guys and gals, I guess, have to find their rhythm together. And that's also part of the whole thing. It's a team sport too. You know, it's not just one person. Everybody's got to work together. But yeah, hopefully they can figure that out, because I was surprised to see how many losses they've had so far this season. Those stats were kind of wild to me.
Yeah, and you know what? I think she's going to become the player someday that you just have to she's going to handpick the coach, and you just have to be okay with it. Because, right, I mean, I heard something, and, you know, maybe it's fake. I heard one report, and this was on the honeymoon again. So I'm like just scrolling a little bit, trying to catch up to things. I saw something that said, I want Caitlin Clark to pass more. Like, that was what the coach said. Now, again, I hope it's facts, because that's what I'm basing this point off of. Caitlin Clark's not a passer. Caitlin Clark can't pass, but Caitlin Clark is a scorer. She's a true scorer.
Yeah.
She can shoot from anywhere. She can create for herself. She can score. You just have to give her the ability to score. I mean, it's like when Giannis has so much say-so up in Milwaukee. Budenholzer won a title with the Bucks and Giannis and everybody else. But when it came time for Giannis to, you know, make a decision, does he want to stay here long-term? Does he not? He has the ability to say, I want a new coach. I don't like how this is going. And they did it. They did it. LeBron James, when he goes back to Cleveland, if he doesn't like the coach, or if he goes to LA, he doesn't like the coach, they'll do whatever it takes to make LeBron James happy, because they're LeBron James. They're Giannis Antetokounmpo. She's Caitlin Clark. They'll do whatever it takes to make her happy, because she's putting butts in seats. She's going to raise the revenue aspect of the whole sport. And if we really think about why women's sports gets the biggest bad rap across America, it's because people say women's athletes are underpaid. Well, it's a revenue sharing sport. Why is the NBA paying LeBron James $40 million? I think that's a little shy of what he's getting, but why is the NBA paying him that much? It's because the NBA is like a multi-billion-dollar sports business, and the WNBA is not. But if Caitlin Clark can raise the revenue share of the WNBA, which is a better percentage than it is in the NBA, just think about how much more money is going to hit the pockets of all of these players.
Definitely.
So let's look at the bigger picture. Let's take everything back out. Jealousy, race, whatever it is, and look at what we're all fighting for. We're all fighting for a bigger, stronger window for the WNBA or women's basketball or women's sports altogether. That's it. That's the argument. So as I get off of my soapbox.
I was going to say, when is it happening? Step on down.
So as I get off of my soapbox, that's where I just kind of want to rest things. I'm tired of it. I'm just sick and tired of everything that I'm seeing. Play the sport, play the game, appreciate the impact. You don't have to love each other. Again, you don't have to go vacation with them in the offseason, but you sure as heck can't look past the impact that Caitlin Clark has already had on this sport.
Definitely.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom.
Mic drop. Rogers Rulez.
Oh yeah, that's the name of the show. I know you wanted to talk about aside from the wedding and Caitlin Clark, golf.
Yeah, a little bit of golf.
So here's the thing. You and I went out golfing once. And that was the only time I think I've actually played. Did we play all 18?
We did. And we played well.
You did. I was garbage.
Not true.
I
Don't
borrowed
let
the
Cam tell you
boss's
that.
clubs, and he had a whole bunch of golf balls. I think he had like 35 golf balls in his bag, and I came home with one. I chunked so many balls. I was so bad. You guys are out there just like smacking. I'm like, all right, I'll just meet you guys at the green. I just pick my ball up. Like I'll walk over there. I'll putt. I'll putt all day. But I think there is a thing now happening in golf, especially with Father's Day right around the corner, that might be getting me back into it. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this?
Well,
it's a
maybe.
Fireball Whiskey golf club for Father's Day.
I have yet to hear about this.
It's called the Fire Iron, and it's a red golf club.
Okay.
It's like maybe a 7-iron, 6-iron, whatever. But on the shaft of it, it has little things that you can put your Fireball shooters on.
Love that.
If I got that, I'm golfing. That's no problem.
You're golfing every week.
I'll still probably shank those balls really hard, but at least I'm having a good time. You know,
you're golfing every week.
Golfing every week.
No, I played a lot of golf this weekend, but I also watched a lot of golf. And so I'll start with what I played. I shot incredibly well yesterday, Cam. Incredibly.
What's your average and what did you get?
So I played a lot of scramble golf this weekend, so I don't really have a set average on just me. But in a scramble, that's where you just kind of play best ball. You go to the best shot. Mm-hmm. We used probably 80% of my shots both days. So I would think that rested pretty well for me. We shot 11 under yesterday as a team. We had 3 eagles. It was crazy. I had a chip in from like 75 feet. It was nuts. And you know, my response is, how do I put this? Come on. Yeah, there it is. That was my response every time that I buried a shot for eagle. I'm not an eagle scorer. I'm more of a bogey golfer. I can hit the ball pretty well and pretty far. Not really sure if it goes straight all the time, but I can manage. And I've been playing a lot better, but it's also probably because I just played, 100 holes of golf over the past 3 days.
Yeah.
But it was incredible. But outside of that, I've been watching a lot of golf events, and you mentioned something that's pretty cool, a Father's Day special, if you will. Yeah. But I thought McIntyre's finish over at the RBC Canadian over the weekend with his dad as his caddy was pretty spectacular. First ever PGA win. I mean, what does it get better than that? Winning with your dad side by side, or your brother, or some sort of family member? I don't think so.
Not at all. No, that's like a dream thing for sure.
Robert, say that again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm back, man. What's
there
up?
He is. There he is.
You disappeared.
No. I was just curious where you went.
I love live podcasts. No, I'm just saying. It's a dream thing having your family there, because obviously you want to celebrate right away. And I'm sure his dad's been there along the way as a major influence in his life, whether it be in golf or otherwise. So yeah, for having go down that way, I'm sure he was just ecstatic, and dad was too, probably.
Yeah, you just can't beat a moment like that. So huge PGA Tour win for McIntyre, and why not drop that just to close out this episode. Rogers Rules, you know where to find me, at Andrew Rogers CC on Twitter. He's Kahm Broham. You can follow the show here on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be live during your lunch hour, and we appreciate you joining us throughout this mix-in. Brandon Tiedemann, thanks for sticking around as well. Extra name drop. We'll see if he chimes in before the live button hits 0:00. But again, Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you want to check in on anything else going on with Hurrdat Sports, make sure to follow us at Hurrdat Sports on all social channels. What's coming up, what you'll be hearing about, maybe next episodes down the road, Super Regional Baseball, the College World Series. It is all hitting the waves. And if you are in and around the city of Omaha, make sure to stop on by and check it out, because it's absolutely unbelievable. And the work that our team does to help put that event on and showcase it to the rest of the world is pretty exciting. So make sure to follow on the social channels. We will see you back on Thursday here at noon. So long.